But if anyone has a problem with this session being recorded, just let me know. You can always stop it here if you feel uncomfortable. But a quick Zoom orientation. We're going to start off with a quick orientation. We do ask for you to mute your mic when you're not talking so we can eliminate the background noise. And to introduce myself, I'm Tiana, and I am the Business Development Support Specialist at Edge, and I just started. So you'll see me here at Mentor Mondays a lot. And we also encourage you to share your audio and video, especially when it comes to Garrett's workshop, so we can have a conversation. And then today's agenda, we're going to do quick introductions. So feel free to use the chat function on Zoom to introduce yourself, what is your startup, and why you're here today, and then a Q&A after. So whoever doesn't know about Edge, we are an entrepreneur and discovery growth engineer right outside of Sheridan. We empower those who connect creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Here are the programs that we have at Edge. It first starts from explore, just exploring your startup, to all the way to growing your venture and scaling it to make a lot of profit. There's more people coming in, so feel free to share your video. And then these are the Mentor Mondays outcomes. I won't go through them a lot, but this is what happens during Mentor Mondays. And today we have Garrett Hall joining us. I don't know too much of Garrett, but I know that he is an instructor at Sheridan College, and he is one of our Edge mentors. I'll pass on to you to introduce yourself a little bit more.
Thank you. Okay, now I've got a crisis because some of you, I think, have seen what we're in a couple times. Poor Crystal. So I'm gonna have to play the in-between here. Regina, are you one of my classes? I heard your name. You were at the Learn to Earn. Which course are you in?
Oh, I'm from marketing.
And
we were together last week on these reps program.
Yeah, you from the advertising side? Are you in the I remember seeing your name. In the advertising side or the marketing side?
Marketing.
Okay. Are you any of the digital marketing classes?
Yes, not really, because I just got a copy by Ravi.
Yeah.
And then I had to drop my classes. So
oh, you left. Okay. So now I'm not as quite concerned about you're just joking, but okay. So you're going to get all the class here in one. You're going to get the entire course that you weren't in right here, whole thing. You're getting the speed version. 14 weeks are coming down to 1 hour. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, Tiana, can you, everybody, I don't know how to work this. So you're going to put in there, tell me if it's boring or if it's over your head. When I've done a situation where I have different skill levels, I've had somebody saying I'm bored in mind. He's telling me just basic stuff. And the other feedback came back. The workshop was like a piano falling on my head. So I'm going to try again. Okay, I like a challenge. Let me see if I can roll this. Or maybe you'll work it out. You can watch cat videos on the side while I'm going through this. Ravi can find me when Sagittarius will be seen in the sky of Gravenhurst. At what point that star formation will be ready for me to look at my stars. But okay, you're saying get going. Okay, I understand. I'm going to present my screen. Oh, we got a chat. Is it boring already? Always hope to hear what you get. Okay, Crystal, good work, Crystal. She's now my favorite mentee at this point. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so everybody can see that shared screen? Perfect. Awesome, and everybody can hear me. Okay, So this was initially a digital marketing workshop that has now been, I went in today to look, I gave the information, said it was DM, but somehow I guess we need some marketing workshops. So it's now, my DM workshop is now marketing workshop. I had to change the name from Digital Marketing 101 to Marketing 101. The darn good news on this is that, yeah, marketing is marketing and it's the foundation of digital marketing. So I didn't really have to change any slides. So I was quite happy about that. So, but I'm going to try to be more interactive. So the veterans can have a little bit of skin in the game and the newbies can kind of somewhat learn from veterans. That's the way I'm going to try to work this. So veterans, or anybody, newbies, if you got a handle on this, what is a value proposition? I'm going to make this more workshop based. I'm going to wait it out. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to sit here for the hour and a half. I'm going to bore the crap out of everybody. So somebody jump in. Baravi, usually we make her happen, but Crystal was keen. I think Zara's the superstar. She did her assignment 1 in that first workup in quickly. Zara, somebody's got to tell me what a value prop is.
So it clarifies who we want to sell our product and services to and why would they want to buy them, especially over other options.
Okay, that was good. I'm going to give you an 8 out of 10 on that one. And I know you know more, but I think okay, that was good. Good. I have to be positive. I know there's a structure. If I be non-positive, it brings down engagement. So I'm with you. Anybody else want to take a and I even have my digital 1,000 I give out to my classes. There you go, Crystal. There's a virtual $1,000 bill for you. You can see it, 1,000. It's when I had hair, but I was a little bit bigger. Class noticed that. They said lost a little bit of weight. So that was nice. Somebody else going to give me a value prop? Going to try to beat out Zara? I like competition, capitalism.
How about adding to, not beating out? Because she said a lot of great stuff, and maybe also adding like what are their pain points and the benefits that you can create to directly address those pain points.
Okay, I'm going to give that. I'm going to give that an 8.8 out of 10 because we also have to move for growth. And I know Baravi's waiting there because she usually runs. We always harass her to come on board, but I think she's happy that she could take a back seat. Chris, do you want to take a stab at it? You're a veteran. You're still here.
Yeah, no, I'm still here. I'm just having some computer issues. But yeah, the value prop is, I would say it's a statement that explains the problem and how the company is going to make your life better by showing you the solution. Or really, it's just a statement that says what the problem they're trying to solve.
I'm going to give Chris sort of a dark horse. I'm going to give Chris a 9 out of 10 on the grading. And I don't give 90%. It's hard to break that, Chris. So it was a little bit. So let's go to it. It's going to take me 10 hours to go through these slides. So the value. Okay. All right. Let me put this other question. In a capitalist society, what do businesses do? What do businesses do in a capitalist society? Crystal?
Sell stuff to make money in a capitalist society.
Good, good, good. Exactly. So what happens is the government takes on, and that's a 9 out of 10 on that one, Crystal. So that's good. Maybe a 9.1. So what it is that the government sells or delivers solutions to problems that are uneconomical for a private enterprise. You have to tax to do it. So private enterprise fills the other void of solving customer problems with product solutions, and product service are the same thing. And when you look at this, what you should notice is this is the entire reason for your business. It exists to help people out with whatever problems they have. And it could even be, the problems can be, it just does sound a little bit strange, but the problems can be psychological, where they want fulfillment from a mental point of view. If you look at a religion, it's a solution to your upcoming death. If you look at, I guess I'm saying is there's the dimensions of want and need. that sit there, but all of us have issues or problems in our lives, and businesses help solve that through hard goods, soft goods, spiritual goods, however you're going to do it. And I say that just to give you an idea that the product solution and the customer problem is essentially the human experience trying to have our wants and needs fulfilled. The businesses fill that in. And what it is, now take this thought in, even you veterans, I don't know if I emphasize this enough, because it's a neat way of looking at this relative to marketing, is your company has when you're first starting your business, there is an overall dimension of your entire target market, and there's a dimension of your entire customers for your almost your entire bundle of products and services. You start big in a business and say, look, do I have customers and do I have a product? But it's at a higher level. And that's correctly so on a business, because on a business, you're trying to float around and you're just trying to get that first entry, that first minimal viable product that will go to the market and be successful. So you are starting general, and that's to be expected as you're trying to work out that first piece, that first sale. You're sort of adjusting around. But the one thing, and I'll say that all marketing and all businesses do this. This is what's neat. Marketers are really the foundation of a business, because that transaction of the product solution to the customer problem brings in money, and that money pays for all the operations. It pays for your finance people. It pays for your R&D. That's how it generates its funds. So a good marketing department or a good marketing formula or good use of marketing is a foundation of an entire business. They control that to a large extent. So that's that slide. Any point questions come in here, and even veterans, if you say, hey, you're not covering something, or there's a thought I should be having, you can certainly co-teach with me and jump in. And a good example is if you look at BlackBerry, and with BlackBerry, I've used this example before, so sorry, veterans. With BlackBerry, they had a situation where what it is, okay, this is a thought that comes out here. So when you're doing that initial aspect of your business setup, where you're finding that customer problem with the product solution, the way you succeed is you have to have something different. There's something called the 4 Ps, which we'll jump into it a bit more. That's price, product, place, which is how you distribute the product to your customers. And there is promotion. One of those elements should be different, or else you're going into extreme price competition. So there's an aspect you always hear, and you'll see the edge beating up all the time. Is it unique? Is it unique? Is it unique? And the one time maybe you can get away with unique is the market is over demanded and there's a lack of solutions. So maybe it's a product or service that's just in high demand, so the market can take you. In that case, you could do a direct follow. If you look at Red Bull, they went into market for energy drinks, and then Monster and everybody else piled on because they felt there was a market there. A lot of them lowered down the price, so they competed that way to some extent. But if the market is flush enough, you can roll in there and not be quite as concerned about competitive. But if you go in and you're competitive, you just got a greater chance of what's the term? Sustainable. What's the term I'm thinking of? Give me that. Sustainable something. Give me the term. Somebody. This is Crystal. What is that?
No.
What's that?
Competitive advantage? I don't.
Yeah. Sustainable competitive advantage. Crystal on that one gets 9.5, and she gets another virtual Garrett 1000 right there. Okay. Good work. Crystal's off running. She's 2-1 on everybody else at this point. So you get a sustainable competitive advantage. And an example of a situation where you're always sort of juggling around finding that market, a good example is BlackBerry, because when you look at BlackBerry, they said their unique competitive advantage, a big piece of it was security. So they had a lot of government users, celebrities. Their security was top notch. Your Apple and your iPhone, your iPhone and your Android are not having the same thing. iOS and Android do not have the same security. And BlackBerry had about 5 years watching as Apple demolished them because their marketing department didn't realize their customer segment also wanted to play Angry Birds and the apps and things. So they said, no, customers want security. And customers said, no, my problem is I'm bored on the toilet. I want to play Angry Birds. And BlackBerry said, no, you want security. And, we got Erica. Oh, Erica, she's another veteran. I got all these veterans. You guys make me nervous because I'm trying to work the veterans with the newbies. So, okay. Hi, Erica. So you have to constantly adapt and adjust and find your place in the market. So if you look at somebody, this is the question. What was it? I just told you all this. So if you're not listening, I'm going to take away money from anybody all involved here. Is what did Apple bring to the market that was unique with iOS versus BlackBerry? I told you, for God's sakes. Crystal, you can get 3. Crystal's in the game. She's moving ahead. Crystal, what is it?
This was my world before. Apps.
Yeah.
Apps on the phone. Everyone's like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, I told you. You're getting a 10 out of 10, and everybody else is getting a -1. So Crystal's the only one of the points at this stage because you should have got that. Yeah, so there was apps. So customers wanted apps. So keep in mind, and you can compete on price, but the only way you can successfully compete on price is if you have a cost model that's lower than the other cost models, right? So price can be competitive, but you better have some structural aspects of your business that allows that price to be lower. Like Walmart came in with the box stores, no frills, cheaper labor, et cetera, all those things, bigger volume in their stores, and they were able to compete on price and move in the market. And Amazon now has a model where they basically just screw all the suppliers who feed goods into them. They put them into a UPC is common, so there's price competition like no tomorrow. And basically they have these guys working part-time gigs making $1 and $100 sale. So that's how Amazon has done their cost model to compete with Walmart and the volumes there. So people put up with, they have a turnkey. So I'm going to leave that thought.
I have a question, actually.
Yes. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So my question is this. As startup, you're often told, find your niche, find that one thing you need to market and stick with that one group. So the BlackBerry thing where they just stick with security. And then you have the others say, well, you have to be like Apple, where you have all these different apps and all these different games and these other services. So what do? Focus on one, or do you just focus on many? Because that's what people are looking for. Because you can't, like, how do you satisfy both schools of thought?
Good question, Chris. And I'm going to give you the definitive right answer. Whoever told you that wrong answer, throw them out of the edge mentoring, in my view. Because, are we being recorded? Sorry, I take that back. I mean that I'll give you okay, let's reverse the last 30 seconds and I'll give you my opinion about how I see this. Okay. No, God, no, because the problem is, like, I'm doing mentoring with a lot of you as edge clients, and I've seen some of you struggle with the value prop or even trying to get to MVP. It's taking you like months, like 6 months. Some products, that are very, very, very competitive, low barrier to entry. It could take 1.5 years to find your spot. So what I always say on that part, and I don't say any other way. I would love to we should have a podcast debate, whoever's going to say the other side, but I'm going to say this, and I'd like to see how we argue this through. But I think when you're formulating your value proposition, which is the core of your business, you are, it's all theoretical in your brain. And you've maybe then you move to a little bit of research, but even the research is real sketchy, right? Because people don't, when you it's funny, 411 used to be free. You'd be able to get, somebody's phone number for free from the telephone companies. and it became 25 cents. And I don't think I've ever used that service ever again. I'm old enough to know when the service was free. So when you start, why I bring that example up, once you start to put money on the table in a real transaction, that's when the reality kicks in. And that's when you really see what's going on. So I'm going to follow your thought a little bit, Chris, but basically you have your products, the main product you're looking at, and you have your main customer segment you're looking at, and you're setting it up for the sale. So you're trying to do the research, and then maybe you go into a point where you have something that you can deliver and do for exchange. That may or may not exactly work. And then what you have to do is you have to then either reformulate your product in some form, or you have to reformulate your customer market, and you have to get that connection. And I would say both those things can pivot. And the word I'm going to use is pivot. I think as the product, you have to morph it into something. I would say where if you drop a product entirely, which a company does, and you do an entire pivot, that is maybe a bit dangerous because you're almost starting again. But I would recommend trying to stretch your product to that spot and try to stretch your customer market to that spot where you get that connection. But I think you constantly have to tinker with both ends of that to try to get the right formula. And I think you have to be open. If you keep banging the same thing and it's not working, a dud is a dud is a dud. You're not going to make your way through, in my view. It means something's wrong in your formula. And the biggest buckets to go at is the customers you're trying to sell to. There's a lot more pieces, but the two biggest price buckets is the customer group, and the other big bucket is the product, how it's being formulated, and all the aspects to it. Chris, does that answer it?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So, and I can tell you in the Edge, I've had some clients who've done like a total overhaul pivot. And I think they've been too impatient, because when you do that, you lose everything. You start from scratch. And usually the overall pivot, they end up in the exact same place. And then it's another 3-4 months. And then to do a big pivot, another 4 months. So the better success I've seen in the Edge is the people that tinker around within the spot they're in, trying to pivot lightly to get to the spot. Wholesale pivots, I really discourage. Or if you do it, again, know that you're starting from zero. So that's that one. And so this value prop, I've already mentioned that the product customer fit is what a business does. Let's leave that. And let's go over I don't like this slide first. I'm going to skip this. People are saying what? I'm going to cover this off, everybody. Newbies, I'll get to this, because I'm going to take this from the USP side. So I'm going to come back to that target audience. Don't worry, I've got it in my head. I've done this slide enough that I've almost memorized this whole slide set totally. I can totally ad-lib now, which is nice. So remember, you got the product on one side. And as I mentioned, now there's a 4 Ps, there's 7 Ps, there's 4 Cs, there's 7 Cs, there's 4 digital Ps. I am going to go on record and say I hate them all. I just like my basic 4 Ps, because you can dance around here and throw some other aspects in there. 4 Ps is fine in my view. I've tried the other tools, and even the 7 Ps, those last 3 Ps are kind of repetitive in my view, like employees or something. It can be covered off in here in my view. So the 4 Ps will work. And the 4 Ps are what you're trying to do. You've got your product going to the market. You have to have something competitive, right? It has to be something that's a better offering. And I'm going to disregard the notion of a flooded market of demand that you can go into, because even then you should be competitive, because if you're not competitive, that flooding demand that's being picked up, everybody's moving in. I'll give you a great example, PPE equipment, right? So in March, April, May, we had a huge surging demand. I had about 7 people saying, I'm going to sell PPE. I'm ready to go. By the time they got to the market, it was already done, because they're just selling PPE like anybody. So that's an example. If there is a flooding demand needed, if you go into it, you're at the mercy of all your competitors who are also going in the same way. So it's a dangerous activity, even if I said that it's possible. I mean, if you got first mover advantage and you went really quick, but if I had a PPE back in March and I was ready to start to sell it, I would still try to differentiate it in some form that it could hold that market when everybody else started flooding in. So remember that USP, and that's that unique competitive aspect of you. So when you're first starting to launch out your business, you're trying to find a realm or space where your product can be a bit different. So maybe your PPE has a tagger on the front. It's not going to really go too far, but maybe it's personable. Maybe you put your name on there. Hello, my name's Garrett on there, something. Maybe a small change or a big change. But you're going to try to somehow do something different, or maybe it's a 4-layer PPE that works with the new COVID strain going out now that's 70% more transmissible and 30% more death. So maybe it's something, you know what I mean? You've got some unique factor. And even if you're going into that market, you're always thinking of that competitive aspect so you can keep rising above your competition and hold the market. So that's the marketing, that's what it's called. It's called 4 Ps. It's been around forever. I'm going to say like 50 years or longer. I'm not sure, but it's been around since my days when I was in school. It's been around forever. And it's stayed on there. It's like Shakespeare. It keeps going. It's got a lot of life to it. And I'm going to go to the slide that matters. So everybody here, okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm going to force in veterans or newbies. I'm going to push on both. The products you have, tell me, a couple of you, tell me unique aspects of your products you believe is unique that you sort of drilled into. I can wait it out. In classes, I'm really good at this. Stare down the students for 10 minutes. Well, not that long. Usually they start leaving class after about 5, so I have to watch it a bit. So work with me. Give me something. All of you, so basically what I'm getting from the silence is you have nothing unique about your products and you're shysters and should be part of the edge, is what I'm going to take out of this. So work with me and show me that you validated your edge membership. Crystal, I know Crystal, Zara's in the game. Okay, good. Crystal, sorry, you could have got 4, but Zara beat you to it. Zara?
Okay, so I'm going to use ecosystem informatics as an example.
Yeah.
The innovation that we've done with the hardware is you can monitor greenhouse gases by placing them on cars, and it's very small. So most of the competitors we've seen, like a big company, Libelium, they have a whole truck that's filling up with the various components of it, but there's not one mobile one. And the other side of it, also validating that it has value to the customers, is that let's say a city wants to map out the level of greenhouse gases, they can do it with fewer units, because otherwise you're mounting them on individual locations, and you can't do that for a whole city.
Zara, awesome. Hold on. So Zara has said, so this is a new entry, a tech entry into the market that measures greenhouse gas stuff. Zara, is there any, so everybody take this in. This is a good learning moment here. So this product's in the market now. What I'm going to say, so what it is, Zara has given you the notion of a USP for the product that's unique in terms of the product space. She's given you that there's customers who want that market. Now, the other questions are and this is, so when you're evaluating your value props and even your micro value proposition, which I'm going to get to, you are going to, did you research the competition?
Just strictly off the record opinion, not enough.
Okay, but you've done enough of competitive research to know that you are unique in this. Good. So Zara gets her virtual 1,000. Good work. Crystal needs some competition. Baravi has not been harassed at all today. He may not be here still. Okay, so we've got this marketing mix. And guess what I'm saying is when you're doing your value props, it's basically your product to customer, you see a relationship, and you're competitive. That's the whole darn thing. All marketing research, I'm going to go on record as saying all marketing research is coming down to that one formula. If you ever want to understand an assignment or a marketing plan, in the end, that's what it's trying to do. That's at least in terms of the guts of the marketing aspect. Because again, all businesses do is sell product and services. So it is there's no other way around it. That's what happens. So we got the marketing mix. And then what I'm going to say now, and I've done my John Deere tractor example, and I think it's really boring to people. Who has heard my John Deere tractor example?
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Chris, sorry, Chris, you've come out. Chris, can you give me another example? Give me something new and fresh. I'm gonna put you all on the spot. I put Chris in this. Give me an example. If you've taken in my John Deere and you're bored, I'm saying, okay, well, tell me an example.
Wait, did you say Chris or Crystal? I'm pretty sure you said Crystal, right?
I said Chris, but I was going to get you off the hook a little bit because I did put you on the spot. But who has an example to rival my John Deere example? Go, Crystal is going for it today. She'll get to 5 if she gets this. Go, Crystal.
I don't mean to keep taking the mic. I'm just trying to save my friends here from the awkward silence. So
yes, for me harassing and my bullying. There's going to be on the edge feedback will be bullying from Garrett, and I'm prepared for that.
Well, I want scans of those dollars. Okay. All right. So, I'm thinking about athletic gear, right? Like you might wear that because it looks cool. You might wear that because you actually care about how you jump or how you run. Friggin'
awesome. I love that example. And that's like another 10 out of 10. Crystal is wiping out the panel today. And I'm going to take that example, work with it, and save over my John Deere example. So exactly. I'm in Chicago at this trade show, and I see some Nike sneakers that are $200. They look kind of neat and stuff, but I really don't give a crap. I just want some comfy shoes to wear. So I'm going to put myself even in a quasi-athletic zone. I'm going to be walking around. I'm going to use it for athletic purposes. I don't give a crap about what they look like or whether they're, whether Kim Kardashian wore them or all that kind of crap. I don't care. But those same sneakers could be looked at some trendy millennial back then, whatever they were. It was about 15 years ago. Back then, they would say, I want a cool pair of sneakers. These ones have little, I don't know, fluorescent something, and they're limited edition or whatever. I didn't get that example that high up on them, but there could be factors there. So that's an example. So everybody take this in. Take this in. So basically, you have a target market of sneakers going to customers. So you provide footwear for customers. So that's your value proposition on a high level. And there may be some unique aspects to that to some extent. But you're now going to take your product and look at its USPs. And one USP is they're darn cool looking and they're really trendy to wear. Another USP for the exact same product is that these sneakers are really comfortable. They're good for doing athletic running or walking. They're really good for that. So same product, 2 USPs, and to that whole target market of people who want, all those things I've mentioned, you're now going to break out your target market into 2 target audiences. And all a target audience is a segment of your customers. It's a smaller segment. So basically, one target audience from your overall target market wants fancy looking sneakers. The other target audience from your target market, they want athletic sneakers, stuff they're going to do stuff with. And the reason I mention this is that's the core of of marketing is because, okay, here's a question. What is marketing? I don't feel right not harassing Baravi, but did Baravi head out?
I'm back.
Okay, I just haven't harassed you enough today, and I'm feeling kind of empty inside.
So marketing is the mode of communicating what you are selling. and getting
Not bad, Ravi. I'm gonna give Ravi out of that an 8.8 out of that one. Yeah, so exactly. All marketing is saying, hey, somebody with the problem, we have the product solution. Your messaging, you're telling them, hey, we've got the solution for your problem. That's what marketing is. And so that message should be tightly associated with you. So let's say I'm a sales guy and somebody comes in looking for the fanciest sneakers. And as a sales guy, I go out there and say, well, these sneakers are really comfortable when you're going for a walk. And the trendy hipster's looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about, idiot? I don't give a crap about that stuff, right? So it's the message promotion should be tightly associated with them. So if you're a sales guy, you'd say, oh, I made a mistake. These are the most trendy products out there. Kim Kardashian has 20 in her closet, and the trendy hipster says, thank you. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So you can see you've got a message, the right benefit to the right target audience. And the neat thing about all this is digital allows that to happen so much easier than it used to be. When I was in younger days working at the ad agency, when I was with all the hipsters, I did have all those suits and all those fancy things, and the skinny ties, the whole thing. I will not deny that. I used to be cool at one point. When I was there, we could only do about 2 or 3 campaigns, or 2 or 3 sort of promotional messages. Your target market had to stay pretty broad. You couldn't afford to do the same pinpointed targeted marketing that you can today, because in today's, with digital, it does allow you to do this. Okay, the term's coming out, and I'm gonna, if this isn't out there, I'm gonna go out there and try to trademark this. Your value prop turns to micro value propositions. That's my new term. And I think in the Edge mentoring, Jelly Social may have mentioned that, but we came to it together. So maybe I have to give us some rights on it. But so your value prop becomes micro value prop, and that's where you tighten up your target audience and you tighten up the USP that of your product that matters to them, and you message the crap out of them. And what that does is that allows you to overtake the competition, because you know the hipster says to you, you know me, man. You know, your web page or your promotion is talking all about the hipster aspect of the shoes. They're saying, thank you. Nobody else gets me the way you get me. And me, now if I go there, old walker, and they're talking about how these are good on my feet, I'm saying, wow, you get me, thank you. So you can see how that tightening up helps you sell. Any questions on all that? No? Yes?
I have a question.
Yeah.
With regards to the 4 Ps, especially pricing,
Yeah.
Does it depend where you are on this journey? So for example, if you're still testing out your MVP, you're not going to start charging people, I'm assuming. Like you're just going to be trying to
you're just trying to get it to somebody to care about taking it. I would agree to some extent on that.
Right. So then I guess that leads to my question, like what's more important, I guess, even if you have a product, is it more the traction via dollars or traction via users?
That's a tricky one, but I'm going to say the first hurdle, because even if you're giving something free, there's a transaction there. People don't want to do anything unless there's something in it for them. So even if you're offering free, I guess I'm saying I would start with free, getting somebody to care and to actually maybe let them do something to get it. Maybe it's not money, but some action to get that free item. And I would start there, because why I would start there is sometimes you can't even give away a product for free. So that is a good sign to you. Oh my God, go back to my value proposition, because I have failed entirely on sort of getting a matchup. So I always recommend starting to do it for free in some form, you know, with and maybe some sort of action required to get that. So you have to do a little bit of skin in the game. But that's what I would say, Chris, is just get somebody to care. And then from there, you scale it up into your sales, because you know somebody actually cares about it. And hopefully when you scale it up to go for revenue, that you can get the revenue to cover you in terms of your pricing model to hit it. So my notion is just get somebody to care and want it. And I've seen clients on the edge, they can't give stuff away.
Yeah, no, that's true. Thanks.
Okay. So I did cover off some of this. Now, So what I gave you, that first, what we discussed so far is the notion of a value prop. And we discussed how that value prop can be cut down for marketing messaging. So that's where we're sitting right now. Now I'm going to go to the next aspect of marketing. And this is really, really important, especially for a small business. And what it is, so all of you have done hopefully some form of a business plan. We worked out how the enterprise is going to work, and you've done your market analysis and all those pieces. Once that's formulated and seems to work, and maybe you've even pushed out for an MVP where you sort of shortchanged it. So everybody who's newbies, MVP is called minimal viable product, and it's the notion of having your first sale into the market, and everybody's trying to get that first sale. There's a notion, lean startup, I think the book kind of sucks in general, but I think it's right on the money with that notion of trying to push to get, you're trying to monkey up as fast as you can to push out a product as quick as you can, because that's the validation you need. So your business planning is set up. You do your marketing plan. You may have noticed this. I've already talked about this. You're looking at your 4 Ps. You're finding USPs. You're finding your target market, and you're trying to consider that target market and tie it to USPs. And that is going to be through research, marketing research. And then you're going to pull out your target audiences with the USPs they want. And then you're going to set some campaign objectives for how you're going to message. So that's what marketing does. Marketing has a purpose. And usually if you can tie an overall purpose, and I'll explain this a bit more. I'm not going fast, but I'm going to circle back on this. And then you do strategies about how you use your promotional messaging to achieve that objective. And then in the strategies, you're looking at the tactics, and your tactics is really just the promotional message you put out and where you put them. And the strategies, you're figuring that out. And I want questions on this. Questions? So actually, let me go on this. Why I'm showing this and why it matters is that your business planning and your business goals, I want this in 6 months. I want this in 1 year. Those business goals are the cornerstone of everything you're doing. And all your marketing plan activity, marketing planning, and all your marketing campaign plans should be tied backwards to those business goals. So quite often you'll see before you can even do a campaign, there's a crap load of work. All those poor people who have done my assignment 1 are died in the process. Assignment 1 is really setting up this first campaign. And some of the edge clients can tell you that some it's kind of easy, but some it's hard as hell. And it's really working. The marketing plan campaign is working with your marketing planning and work with your business planning. Don't just think you can do a message and not think about all the pieces and how it all works. I really disagree with if you go 10 steps too fast or 1 step too fast, you go 3 steps backwards. Really do that foundation. The best example I can use is I build a lot of little cottages out in the woods. It's my hobby. I built 7 of them because I kind of enjoy it. Gets me good exercise. And the foundation costs about 80% of the wood price, that bloody foundation. It takes forever to build it. I'm doing 6x6s, and you got your 2x8s. They're pressure treated. Nothing on the foundation is cheap. It gets all the good wood. It gets the 3/8 plywood. And that foundation, so it takes a lot of time. Roof's a bugger too, but I'm scared of heights, but we won't get into that. It's cheap to do. So that foundation, once it's set, if your foundation sucks and it falls a little bit, everything falls apart, warps, falls apart. Your foundation is the first thing to go because the whole load of gravity is going on to it. So what I'm going to say is you plan out your entire structure. You do a beautiful foundation, then you start to roll it up from there. The walls are cheap and easy to do. You can put walls up in basically a day. A foundation will take 3-4 days. So same thing for marketing and campaign planning. If you go too fast, it's all going to collapse over. And even worse, if you go too fast without planning and your cottage tips over, it means, and you didn't plan it, you don't know what went wrong. It broke, but you didn't think about anything. You may have a sense of where it collapsed, but you never planned it all out and you never had any notion of what you built. So that foundation, you'll see me when marketing, about 80% of marketing isn't the messaging, it's setting up to what the messages should be and why and where. That strategy is your important piece. The promotional messaging and which you communicate is pretty straightforward. Any questions, concerns, issues on that? I will even take Socratic debate against me, whatever you want. You can tell me I'm awful. Personal attacks are even allowed at this point. Crystal?
I think it's super helpful. I mean, I think for me personally, I've always felt really bad that I'm not going fast enough. And finally, I've said, that's it. I'm taking the boat out of the water and I'm rebuilding the boat. So it's a really great analogy that you just offered. How long do you think it's reasonable? You know, because I'm always constantly worried it takes too long, and then once you do have the foundation, you know, I kind of see it more like a hockey stick these days, right? People, it takes a while, and then.
Awesome. I think Crystal is the new Baravi as far as I can see at this stage. She may be happy because there are moments of glory, but Baravi, that was just encouragement to get you competitive. Awesome example. And I can tell you our awesome statement. As long as it takes. Again, so I do all this edge mentoring, so I've got a good sense of this. I've probably mentored about 100 clients so far over the last 2.5 years. I'm going close to 3, I think now. Holy crap. So some clients, they'll go in quick. So Zara went really quick on yours. Zara, what's your company you're doing outside of ecosystem? What's the other one?
Venture Circuit.
Did you hit my assignment right off the bat really fast? Yeah, you did. You hit it really good. Right?
Sorry, I wasn't able to hear properly.
Oh, you assignment 1, you went really quick and you nailed that one, didn't you?
Yeah, things have started pretty fast in terms of like getting the MVP and doing some initial promotions. The conference was about like 2 months, where normally I'm looking at like 6 or 7 months.
Okay, good. So why I'm saying this is depends on your industry, and you go as long as it takes to get the formula right. And I could say some clients in 1 month, they'll nail it. They got it all down. Some clients, I could even talk about, I could say this because it's a positive thing, because she's in a competitive space. Chris Beth is a great example. It took about 1.5 years to get her MVP, and she was going full out on that, like massive amount of time. But I see she's getting traction now. She found her spot. So it's sort of social enterprise mixed with rental space. And she got it, but it took her 1.5 years of tinkering to get to that point. And it did work, but she was constantly adjusting. She was working against foundational ideas, like she had her pivoting going within her space. So there is no easy period, but you'll know when you're ready, because if you're right and you're ready and you're pushing out for the MVPs, you'll know you're ready because the product will start to move and you'll start to get the interest and you'll start to get the formula to communicate it. So I always recommend don't blow your brains out going too quick where you're wasting time and money and effort. Just back it up and make sure your initial campaign plan is working and you've thought everything through and then you launch. So I think it's better to sit dormant, sort of working through things, than to be active where you're burning money, burning time with something that's not fully formed. It's an incredible waste of effort and energies. And that's the biggest problem that I see. It can go too slow too. I've seen some edge clients where they snailed along too much and it caused troubles. And I've seen some clients go too quick and then their gratification said, crap, I've been doing this for 6 months. I'm done. I'm getting out. And so I've seen both ends. Those are the dangerous ends. It's kind of the in between. I guess what I would say to Crystal's question or comment is keep pushing. As long as you're pushing out as you're planning and you're trying to move to MVP in any form and you're thinking it through, that's sort of your movement. So you're planning up things and you're pushing out testing all the time with your MVP. You do that, from my experience, that kind of gets you between those two parts. So somebody goes really quick and burns out and they didn't really plan it out. They're in trouble. They went too slow and it's been 2 years, they haven't made a dime yet because they just don't know how to get this thing to market. So the in-between is you're thinking through, because what it is, marketing itself and a new enterprise it's insane the amount of pivoting around you have to do. I mean, you've got to really work the space to get there. And one thing that can really speed you up as you start to do that planning document is theft of other people's ideas and what they've done. And I recommend that greatly is when you're going with your product to market, one of your best aspects of research is to look at competitors or near competitors and seeing those ones that are failing and saying, I'm not going to do those things because they're live labs for you. They're live testing. Or you're looking at the ones that are succeeding and say, crap, I want a piece of that. And I'm going to try to do some things that they're doing and put it into my own form. So competitive research, which is great because that's really the whole notion of capitalism. So it's doing it right, where you're trying to steal from everybody else to do better than them. So that competitive aspect is so important, and always keep watching it, and always try to, even if you don't have a direct competitor, try to find competitors or competition industries close to you and sort of watch them all the time. Okay, there's a marketing plan and there's campaigns. There's my Hall's marketing canvas. Yeah, I'll go over this. Now, where the hell are we at with time? 1 hour. I've been interactive somewhat, but I'm gonna have to speed this up. Newbies, how we doing newbies? Is any newbies here? Have I lost them all? Newbies? Newbies, any general questions before I move? Newbies?
I'm still
Yeah,
I
still
actually
here?
I don't come from a marketing background, and I don't have a business, so I'm just learning right now.
Okay, cool. Newbies, are you keeping up? Is like a piano falling on your head? The veterans, I'm keeping them half-ass entertained or trying. It's a lot of work. Like, classes is half entertainment, half knowledge is what I found. So the veterans, I'm working them hard, but newbies, I'm kind of neglecting you. Any questions at this point? And realize I will say this, I may slightly besmirch you, but that's just because of bad attitude. But there are no bad questions. I'm just joking on that. There are no bad questions at all. So and this is brand new to some of you, and you may say, like, what the crap is going on? So any questions that I can help clarify, please ask.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, but I guess what I want to know is, from my perspective, our marketing is like what I see on TV, right? Or like a website, something that proposes value of your product or something you're trying to show or a business is trying to show. So from my perspective, I'm looking to, let's say, move into sales, right? So how does sales and marketing kind of tie? Because basically sales, you're promoting that marketing message, right?
That's your Vivian?
Yes.
Vivian, I'm going to hit that. So good question, but I'm going to hit that. I'm going to try to answer that. If I don't do it, you can yell at me at the end, but we're going to go into that if I get there in time.
Cool.
Yeah, if I don't get there in time, I'll just move the slides ahead. So this chart, take this in, because really this is marketing in a nutshell. So you have your business goals. You have the research about your environment. So actually, this is the question. What is that marketing research based upon? Again, this is really retention of what I'm saying question. What is that marketing research? What is the core of that marketing research? I'm going to stare everybody really close you should get this. It means you haven't got any of this lesson and I have to repeat everything or I have to go overtime.
Core of the marketing research, I guess, is to understand the value proposition of other.
Beautiful newbie. Take it on, Crystal. Good work. It's the value prop, right? It's a product, customer solution, looking at the competition. That's the primary thing going on there. And once you understand that environment, you set what your marketing wants to do. I want to get 60 new customers. I want to get one person to buy my product. You set up an objective. You have to have a purpose, or else you're just going to do willy-nilly. You don't do marketing just kind of spinning around. You may get lucky, but it's a very, very hard exercise. So an example I always give is you're going to do fishing. And let's say you don't know the lake. You're going to go for the whole weekend trying to find the spots where the fish are. If you're smart, you would have done research and would have asked where the fish were. Maybe you got a fish finder. You could maybe speed up the first day, the first half hour, you go right to the fishing spot and you're done. So you see that power of research, and that research as well can help you to set a reasonable objective, why you want to do it. So I want one customer, I want 60 customers. I want 100 visits to my website, blah, blah. You've got an objective you're going after. And then you strategize, and that strategy comes from your marketing research, where you understand who your target audience is, you understand the USP, and then you say, okay, I believe this target audience wants my product, and I believe they want this, so that target audience wants this USP, my product, and I believe my target audience is here on the internet, or they're located here, and this is going to be my strategy, and these are the promotional methods I believe I can get to them. I think they're watching YouTube, so I'm going to put my promotion on YouTube. So you speculate how you're going to do your campaign, and then what happens after you strategize where they are, what you're going to say, you then go out and you undertake promotions in those spots, and then you evaluate your effectiveness. And the evaluation is going through 1 to 5. You're going through the whole thing, because if it works, you did everything right, and maybe something better. So there's some sort of measures tied. So what I would say, whenever you're doing marketing, there's a measure involved in some form, so you can sort of verify whether you're right or wrong. And you get the evaluation, and if something fails, you have to go backwards and see what failed. So what I would say is that's why the planning process is so important, because in marketing, a failure is not a failure, because you will find out through the evaluation. If you fail, then you know what didn't work and you knock it out of your marketing. So that's why, again, why that foundational aspect, the planning part, is important, because you can always deconstruct and see what went wrong. Okay, I'm going to skip this. I'm going to skip that. I'm getting to digital marketing, and this thing was marketing 101. So I'm going to skip this somewhat. I'm going to go to here. So remember I mentioned you would research. So for example, there's a target audience here called Anne. And target audiences, I'm going to leave this for you. Remember, you've got a target market broken into target audiences, and each target audience can be linked up to a persona. And a persona is sort of an identifier that you use to sort of keep that target audience in your brain. And this, again, has been around for, I'm going to say, 60 years on this one. So Google it, and you're going to find out what a persona is, a target audience, a target market. It's nothing unique to me. I won't take no credit for creating that thing. So here's Anne. She's a persona. And remember, in your strategy, you'd be thinking, where is Anne online? So you would try to figure out Anne. It's going to be general. And then you're going to say, I'm going to talk to Anne. She's on Skype. So maybe Skype allows an advertisement. She's on Google. Maybe I'll do a website. I'll do Google Ads, or maybe I'll do SEO on something that Anne's searching for. So you're going to try to deconstruct your persona where they are. And in the beginning for you, you could do this lightly and kind of test around. But as long as strategically you're laying it out and you're measuring it, you're safe. If you just go willy-nilly and you don't know why or what you did, then you could possibly end up in trouble. And here's a customer journey thing. We're running short on time, so I'm going to move it. I tried to cover up the marketing elements more today because that's what the thing was about. And I'm going to move it here. What the hell? Oh, wrong one. And this is going to come to Vivian's question. And it's not a bad one. This will cover a lot. So the marketing to sales relationship. Now, some of you, if it's a low ticket, maybe you just bring them into a web page or bring them into a promotion, and you can get a direct sale. So marketing and sales are interlinked. Like an e-com site is an example, right? Amazon or something. They look at the reviews, you look at the thing, and you buy it. You're not going to do any more. You don't need anybody selling. So marketing with low tickets and good information, marketing and sales are pretty much linked. Now, with sales, so I'm going to cover Vivian's question, and anybody asks questions, I'll cover it off. So Vivian gets a personal lesson here, personalized. If anybody else has any questions, make sure you tell me. So for sales, the way you do it, marketing is your leg to broad-based, try to give you leads and prospects. So marketing and sales work together. Marketing does the promotional messaging via promotional tools that are not directly selling. So you're trying to get interest, you're trying to build up followers. So marketing is trying to bring in prospects. So let's say you're HubSpot. You ever know HubSpot or Salesforce, those tools. you'll notice you'll go to a landing page that maybe gives you some information about it. And you'll notice very often, because they're higher purchase prices, some of them have, $50, $500 a month. Those kind of decisions, usually people need more information and more hand-holding. So marketing can set up these leads. And once you have these leads, you can then kick into the sales cycle. And the sales cycle quite often will take that larger target audience you're going after the marketing and even try to further slice down that target audience, ideally down to an individual level. And that sales will occur ideally in a CRM, so you can automate how you push at them. So the CRM, you capture an email address, you capture a name, you possibly capture a phone number, and you try to get that specific information, and then the sales kick in, and that's called the middle of the funnel. So marketing, to a large extent, it can work in all these areas, but to a large extent, marketing is the top of the funnel where you're driving in your prospects. And then middle of the funnel is where you're individually sort of pushing or nudging them along to a sale. And then you get down to the buy. So there's three parts of the funnel. One's called the, what's it called, the top part? SQL funnel. What's the top of the funnel called? SQL so MQL is the middle. There's something in top of the funnel and the bottom funnel called something. It's not here. Yeah, it is this top of the funnel. So TOF, and that's what it is, middle of the funnel. So to see here, you've got a top of the funnel where you're just trying to get people into your space using marketing. The middle of the funnel where you're trying to nurture them along, and the bottom of the funnel where you go for a sale. But both in marketing and sales, you want to make sure that you are not going too quick. You've got to make sure they're qualified before you push them. Oh, Vivian, this was for you. And you're missing the part, you got your own personal instruction, but you missed it. Did you get it? Vivian, you were there. Or did you miss your?
I'm listening.
Okay, I missed your sales, I think. Did you hear me talking about this? You missed it?
No, I did hear you. But what I'm kind of confused about, or not, yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
This is your personalized lesson.
When you were saying, marketing and sales, like, yes, the marketing brings in the leads and then it goes into inside sales, right? But then, But then now a lot of companies are transitioning, especially tech companies are transitioning to business development reps or business development. And that kind of really ties into sales because the business development reps have to actually reach out. Like they have to do all the marketing research of the competitors. They have to do, the cold outreach. To bring in the funnel. So that's where I guess it kind of muddles together, where in my head, marketing is the actual ad or the actual, website, whatever is digital or whatever you can see, a flyer, whatever it can be. But like the business development rep is the one who's actually bringing in these active or these not so active leads.
Okay, you're not far off. So basically though, what marketing that would be is, so for example, let's say, so if you're getting into that where you're getting salespeople sort of doing the prospecting, they're building out that top of the funnel. The only way that works is it's a higher dollar value, right? Where that effort is worth it. So let's say I'll give you an example where marketing and sales work with a high value in terms of what you're talking about. Let's say LinkedIn. So marketing efforts of that salesperson would be trying to find prospects. Marketing effort would be sort of maybe they have 20 canned emails that they adjust to their prospects. So that realm of business development, that's marketing. And then you're right, it blurs off, it's close, but really once they capture the lead with those sort of general prospecting, that's when it sort of becomes a sales cycle. But they're still doing the same thing. You have to understand your target audiences and you maybe slice them up a little bit more, tighten them up because sales, you want to be more focused. They still got to do promotional messaging to get their interest. So that we're calling marketing, but you're right. Somebody could argue as well that that's sales too. But I'm going to call that marketing because it's more broad-based and it's more formula-based. And sales, in my view, is a bit more direct where you're trying to weave around the individual customer, the small group, and you're trying to drive them down. Does that kind of help, Vivian? Did I answer that question?
Yeah, makes sense.
Cool. And I think I'll keep moving past that slide. There's so much more, but this was marketing. And I went way too long in the beginning because I dealt with marketing more than I normally do. So I think we have 20 minutes. I would like some questions. We're not going, this is all digital marketing. I'm going to leave this.
Sorry, just a quick recap of what you were saying. So I think basically the differentiator would be that marketing is a value proposition to a particular target audience. And the
communication of that value proposition, promotion, yes, promotion of the value prop.
Promotion or communication of the value
Yeah.
prop. But the sales is actually but it's also the promotion of the value proposition, but to the individual. Yeah,
I would say normally sales tightens up and it gets a lot more weavy because sales, you're doing emotional tech, good salespeople they're quite valuable even in today's market where you can weave around that person tightly and through that interaction, you get a much better sense of what the USP they care about. So a good salesperson is moving against that person and they're listening. They're trying to say, really, what do they want from me? You don't even say anything. You're trying to keep charging out and you're trying to tighten up specific to the person. And you can do that. The higher value amount, the more time you can spend sort of trying to figure out that person and get the message much more clearly stated to them. The good news is through your marketing efforts, and the target audience they fit in, that general communication you went with, that something within there attracted them. So at least you have a little bit of a sense when you get to the sales, as you try to figure what their brains are, you get to kind of move around a bit. You know what I mean? They fit into a basket anyway, but you're not sure in that basket what they really wanted. So yes.
Good. Thank you.
Questions, everybody? Questions. I'm going to keep talking. I'm bored of myself even right now. You got to have one question. Anybody? Okay, you know what? Let's go general business mentoring. I'm feeling kind of renegade. Any business question at all, take me on. Even the group will cover me if I can't get it. What is troubling you? I am your solution, your business problem solution. And I want to know your business. No, I'm your solution. I want your business problem. And everybody else can help me. So I can be a little bit bold on this because we got all of the experts in here. So give me a problem you have these days, everybody. Let's do it. You all have no problems. Awesome. Crystal, are you ready? She's not going to admit it. I can't hear you. Crystal, we can't hear you.
Sure, I know. Okay. Well, I'm just waiting for everyone else. I'm curious. This is cool. So really, any question? Amazing. It was actually another Mentor Mondays. Someone had mentioned his book, and I just picked it up from the library. And .com Secrets.
Yeah, is it good?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. In the first chapter, he talks about the value ladder. And I was like, I want to know what Garrett's thoughts are on the value ladder.
I don't have a clue. You've got me. You're going to have to, Crystal, you're going to have to explain the value ladder. I'm feeling that it's something related to my micro value proposition. And I like his term. I think he's done better than me, sort of getting a nice, catchy term. I may steal that if I have to. But tell us what this value ladder is. Maybe we can all jump in a bit. What is he saying?
I think it's kind of different from your micro value prop. So don't worry, you still got that. So
okay, good.
About, especially in digital marketing or whenever you get a customer, you make that transaction, you make the sale, you don't want that to be the end of it, right? So maybe you start off with a freebie and then they come back and then they pay for, I don't know, one course or one item. And then you're like, hey, I'm going to give you more value. So this ladder concept is every time they have a transaction with you or interaction with your brand, you give them more, you offer them more value. And now they've already had that experience. Of course, they're going to take you up on that next offer. So an example he has is his friend is a chiropractor. Before it was just a $50 adjustment and that's all the chiropractor sold. But then afterwards he said, okay, let's have them come in the door through a free massage. The massage therapist will then give an assessment, say, hey, you could probably benefit from the $50 chiropractic adjustment. And then they had more upsells from that point. I thought that really fits well for a digital funnel.
Yeah, when you say that, I'm thinking of the funnel. It even goes back to Chris's question. And I'll even give you an example on that. So I used to have a retail store in Oakville, and what it is, this is a really good example. I like this. This is a good thought, everybody, and even for how you get your products into the market. I love this because this is a thought I have. I may still just put in a course because it certainly is something that I aspire to or I agree with. So I'm with the value ladder. Is that what you're trying to do is, this is going to go back to Chris. Chris, this is going to drill a bit more in terms of what your question is. The biggest thing, and this goes back to when, again, 30 years ago when I first started in industry, is the value ladder. It's essential. And what I'll say is the greatest thing you have is inertia, and that's the first movement. And I'll give you examples. So I've got a retail store. It's basically 35 degrees out. I've got the door. It was basically situated with high traffic. My friggin' door is wide open, and I'm cheap as hell with my retail. I don't like spending that kind of money. I'm probably spending on AC electric costs. I'm probably spending about $700-800 a month on my electricity just because the AC is blowing out into the street. And everybody's going to say he's bad for global warming and stuff, but I had to survive with my business. Sorry, maybe there's another way of doing it this day. Back then, we weren't too worried about climate change stuff. So I've got this, and what it is, when the door was closed, and it's not a hard door, you just open the door, traffic into the store would be down 50%. And then what you would see, and this goes to Crystal's point, and this concept will work for everything. So just take in this notion. What we do on the window is you put your loss leaders, you put your things where you're making only 10 cents on the, 10 cents profit on maybe a $20 sale or something. You're making nothing because you want them to get in the store. And even in store designs, there's even things where you do traffic count, which shows where people move through the store. So you even set up your store to have them move along. You try to seduce them to get them inside the store. Your biggest thing, you may notice yourselves, is you walk in, you get scared, you run out. So you got to trap them. So you make this path, and then you get them down. And then even if you lost them yet on the way out, you've got loss leaders to get that first action. And then once you break the ice, so on this value ladder, we're going to say is that icebreaker is the most important step. So even examples you have around the tills, quite often you'll see sort of knickknacks and things because the transaction's going through and they'll pick them up. But you're always trying to get that first movement. And I could not agree more with that notion. And that's what I'm saying with MVP. You're trying to push something out, get some activity, get some action. And that's why HubSpot, they'll give you this great article. You'll see on web pages to get the information that you have to put your name and your email in to get that document. And that's called, it's called, I don't know, it's called something. I'm going to call it a hero wall or something. Maybe something else knows what to call it. But basically, you're trying to do something. And then once they grab you with that first email through that giving you something for free that you value, where you give away your email, you then move into the case where they start to slowly try to work you if they do it right and not too fast. They try to give you a few more things or articles on the same thing. Get the trust, get the relationship. And this same principle goes for even social media and stuff to some extent. And you're right, you try to drive it up. Maybe I'll give you a free trial for a month off the HubSpot. You'll do an email saying that. And then maybe, hey, we'll give you a 50% off if you order in this week, or 70 or 90% off for 3 months. And then it moves to a sale with an opt-out or something. So I would aspire to that. And I think it's an awesome idea. And I think it is the core of how marketers go. I'm with you on that entirely. So yes, I'm going to look at that value ladder I may use in the class because it's a good principle. And Chris, that answers your question to some extent too. And any other questions? I think Crystal has won today. Ravi is now drinking tea and watching TV. Oh, she is. No, she's honest. Okay. Good to see you, Ravi. Sorry, I can't help teasing you. It's one of my weaknesses. Any other questions? We got one more question. This is it. Any question, any business idea. Crystal gave us some good value. Enrich your fellow peers here or ask any question.
All right, I have a question for you. You said any question, right? So
yeah, anything. You want to know about the cat's name or anything? I'll help you out. Anything.
With respect to grants and funding, a lot of the grants are asking for 2 years of financials together with at least 2 employees. And so, a lot of startups don't have that. They can't apply for SHRED, et cetera. So at what point do you think a startup should start putting things on the books as far as salaries and benefits and all that stuff?
Do you want the orthodox answer or the non-orthodox? You know how I would game this. I would go for shortcut.
That's quite so. I'll go for both. Sure.
Okay, I'll give you the orthodox answer. Then you just have to sort of build your enterprise to get there. And the non-orthodox, and this one, recording at this, somebody give me a qualifier. I am not personally responsible for what I say from this point on. If that grant money is enough money, I wouldn't cook it, but I would I would get some on the books and I would get 2 employees and, your family or friends, I would make it work. If there's good money there, go for it. But that's not going to be any way orthodox from anything being said today. But I'm going to say that it's a competitive world and your business needs to survive. And the way you go at it and what you do to get there, you have to be a little bit bloodthirsty, in my view, to succeed. Because your small business is one of the hardest things in the world. You don't understand that. I think it's undervalued in our society. What you're doing is incredibly risky, incredibly time consuming. You're the warriors of this generation, in my view, is small business. So I would try to push the parameters. I would do it legally, but I would certainly push things to the edge. If there's money there that you could or you want to get, I would push your business to fulfill that mandate the best I could. If the grant money's there, otherwise the pain in the ass of doing all this isn't there. So I think I gave a you can't get me on anything on that one, but I did for very, very much. And nobody else in Edge is going to tell you that. So I was the one.
Hey, thank you.
Do you forgive me, Chris?
Yep.
Okay, good. Like I say, realize that you're going to push things to the highest level you can. It's funny, even this is off topic, but everybody knows Saatchi & Saatchi, and I think they bought up everybody else. You know Saatchi, they were started off. So Saatchi & Saatchi, they became this huge company. They bought up Ogilvy and they bought up all the ad companies. I remember reading the story of Saatchi & Saatchi. This is an example I'm saying, just you're in a blood sport right now, everybody. You've got to do everything you can to win because the stacked against you is insane. And even the way that's being treated right now with COVID, small business is just really the doormat of the nation right now, in my view. That's a little bit of a political statement, but I don't think it's respected enough. But Saatchi & Saatchi, to get their first client, what they did is when they first started, they had their agency room and they didn't have enough staff. So they got all their family and friends to sit around the desks. Even the guy who owned it pretended he was like a maintenance guy and stuff. They did this. If you look at the story, it's quite interesting, but they did what they had to do to survive. I'm not saying be unethical. I don't believe in that in any form, but do what you've got to do to make your business work. As long as they weren't lying or anything. He didn't ask them who those, what the employees or family. I mean, if somebody asked you if that's your mom, maybe you'd have to say yes. So I'm not saying a total deception. But I'm saying do what you got to do to survive because you're in a blood sport. So Chris, do what you got to do to survive. You have to win.
Yep, for sure. Thanks.
That was motivation. And again, I think I'm a little bit tired and maybe I was talking too freely on that one, but that's what the hell I would do. We'll get into that. Stop that comment. Next and last question. This is it. Anything at all?
Yeah, so I have a question.
Yeah.
In terms of marketing, they're like building a website to market your service is obviously a marketing tool, right?
Yeah.
So when you're deciding, like you already have your target audience, you already kind of know what your value proposition is. How do you translate that into building a website because, you know, if you look at a big company, they obviously have many pages and things, you know, and also a lot of information, whether it's demos, whether it's like marketing, like blogs, YouTube videos, whatever it may be. But if you're like starting off and you're trying to build a website to market your value proposition, what are some things that I should consider?
Vivian, I'm doing another. So Vivian's a superstar. Get Vivian into the edge. She's a newbie and she's rolling quite nicely, everybody. Vivian, join the edge for God's sakes. Vivian, that is digital marketing, and they took it away from me. I gave them all the stuff and said I'm going to teach digital, but they said no, teach general marketing. So I did more of the value prop and all that stuff. But all the old veterans already had all that, and you've been robbed. I will say that if you go to this site, if you go to Student Marketing Consulting, I'm going to do a digital marketing 101. What you asked is in these slides. So you have access to it. You can read those slides and you'll see that I cover that. And the way it works, and this is going to be your 1 minute digital marketing lesson or 2 minutes, is you're correct. The beginning is to set out on a web page. You have the target audience persona in your mind. You know USPs. You build the page that would talk to that audience. This is going to be marketing like in 2 minutes. There's a marketing 2 minutes. So you'd build that website. You would get your analytics on there. You would register some of the keywords. Maybe you try to speculate the keywords initially. You try to get the search and SEO. You would then take that content on that website landing page, and you would start to break out some of the USPs that you put inside that, because maybe your target audience, you think there's about 6 or 7 USPs you put in that page, things you're looking for specifically. You'd go to your social media and you start to even pull out some of those USPs, driving the traffic to your web page. And that's how the marketing will work. And in sales, you can start to do sales pitches. And when you're doing your prospecting, you could still use your web page as a backup to sort of send them to. And on that web page, you're trying to collect their information. You're trying to gather some sort of information. If you had a really, really good article, you think they want information, you put an email wall in front of it. To get it, you have to give me your email. And that I gave you a digital marketing course in 2 minutes. And this slide deck will cover that off exactly what you've asked.
What was the website or that you told me to go?
Oh, I'll show you. So I'm doing a digital marketing session, and the veterans are saying, thank God he's not going to do it here. Where's the chat? I'll put it in the chat. I'll put a link. There's a session that I'm doing on Wednesday night. And if you sign up as a student here, can't follow links. Who can't follow links? Who's linkless? It's studentmarketingconsulting.com. There's a session I'm doing on digital marketing on Wednesday night. You'll see the event sitting there, and that'll answer that question there. And some of the newbies who feel cheated because you didn't get enough digital marketing, I've certainly covered off there. I won't go as hard on the value prop and all those other stuff I did today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think this was an okay session. Not bad. I kept the veterans slightly entertained. Newbies, how are the newbies? Newbies, are you happy? Vivian is. Newbies, how we doing? Heather kind of knows this stuff. Sharice is very quiet. Regina is very quiet. Okay. There's more veterans in the audience anyway, so I did move to the largest grouping. And that is that, unless there's any last pressing question, issue, comment, complaint. We did it. Oh, Zara.
This might just fall into a category of complaint, or I found that in early stages, I'm doing like the assessment, not just for customers, but any kind of stakeholder for a business. So for partners, suppliers, and it's always an exercise to learn about any of them and get them to work.
Damn, definitely, it's brutal. And Zara, that fits in your marketing planning, right? Because that's indirect your campaign. And that marketing, so the business planning process is brutal. The marketing planning process is brutal. And that's the campaign process is brutal, but I'm going to say it gets more brutal on the larger levels. Like the business plan and marketing plan are rough. That's where you're working on how the whole damn thing's going to work, right? And that's why I think the business model canvas kind of sucks because it doesn't go enough detail. You can't use it as a functional document, in my view. It's a brainstorming document. So did I jump into Zara? Do you feel the bonding on that? Because I'm with you on that.
Yes.
Okay. Zara's got a legitimate issue and I'm with her. It's brutal. Because the problem is when you structure all of that and you start to launch, you have to pivot. Everything you did just gets blown to crap. So you got to kind of keep a living, thin documents as you work it through and kind of keep nimble in the whole damn process. It's all basically, you know, you're floating back and forth constantly to try to get your business up.
Yeah, it's good to not be alone though. So this is great.
Okay, I guess I gave you empathy on that one. I'm with you.
Exactly what I was going to say. Thank goodness for all.
Okay, everybody. Tiana, where the hell are you? Where's my co-host, for God's sake? She leave me? There he is. You gotta finish this off. You gotta make everybody feel good, and you gotta tell them to do the feedback, and they can yell at me and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna done unless anybody's last. So sorry, Tiana. Any last questions? Are we there? Any last comments? We doing okay? I think we are. Tiana, it's yours.
I just like
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Garrett is very entertaining. I loved being in the session. I myself was an HR student at Sheridan, so it's kind of refreshing to get a refresher on marketing. But I just linked a few links below in the chat. One is our upcoming Mentor Mondays, Intro to SEMrush.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. Digital people. Dan, I'm going to jump in. I'm actually going to participate in that session because SEMrush is the digital marketing analytics bomb. It's really good. CMS, content management system. You want to get in that one. The person doing it is high up in SEMrush. That's going to be awesome. So I'm going to back you up with Dan. It's going to be a good session. Get in there.
Thank you so much. And then upcoming events, general edge events, and lastly, just the evaluation form on how you like this Mentor Monday, and hopefully Garrett can hopefully do digital marketing next time. Let's see. But if there's no other questions, I think we're all good to go. Thank you for everyone for coming.
So good luck, everybody, and thank you. Thanks for putting up with me, and good luck with your ventures. Make it happen. Get rich.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Robbie, sorry I didn't harass you enough today. I tried.
That's all right.
Awesome, everybody. Take care, everybody. Nice to see everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.